All right, let's have a look at the last exercise in this unit, which is question 10. I'm going to go through and I'm just going to go complete the square and solve in one go. I'm not going to do these two things separately. I'm not going to treat this, for example, as a separate expression, complete the square, then try and solve it. I'm just going to do the whole thing in one go. So first step is I'm going to take everything and I'm going to divide it all by 10. So divide this by 10, this by 10, this by 10, and this by 10. So 10 divided by 10 leaves me with an x squared. Now, I'm going to use implies that signs here, yeah? It just basically adds to the flow of the direction of movement of the equation. And I've got something that doesn't really look like an x squared there. It looks like a c and a backwards c. Not so good. Plus, this is 3/10 x, or 3x on 10. But I like to think about it as 3/10 x minus, and that's going to be 1/5 is equal to 0. So I'm going to add a fifth to both sides, 1/5 plus 1/5. All right, so now where do I land? Here we've got an x squared, we've got a 3/10 x, and I'm writing it like that for a reason. And the reason is simple. It's simply that I'm going to take the b term, and this bit here is now a coefficient rather than a, well, it's still a coefficient, but this you can see is a very, very clear coefficient. And I'm going to add that to both sides, and I'm going to halve it squared. So let's add it to both sides. Well, first of all, 3/10, so let's go 3. And if I had a 10 here, I'll write 10 very softly there. There's our 3/10. I'm going to halve it. To halve it, I multiply the denominator by 2, and then I'm going to square it. Of course, 2 tens is 20, so it's really 3 on 20. Here it is. And this, of course, is 1/5 plus, again, 3 on 20. Okay, all squared. Okay, nicely done. So this is nice and straightforward. Now, this bit here is, of course, my completed square. I didn't mean to write over the 20, by the way. Let's have a look at that. There's going to be an x, it's going to be a plus, and again, I'm doing my two c's backwards for an, aren't I? So I've got an x here, this is all squared, and I've got a 3/20 in there. This is all equal to, and I'm going to try and keep the equals under each other as best I can. I'm not doing too well there. Plus, now, this is what you probably want to do on your calculator, but 3 squared is 9, 20 squared is 400, and it's probably just easy just to plonk the whole thing straight into the calculator. Let's have a look at that now. So I got 1/5, and I've got, what was that? Well, 9/400. 9/400. Oops, too many. There we go. It's 89/400. It's 89/400. Okay, so I didn't really plan this out very well again. I'm gonna, because I need to get a negative sign there in a moment, so I'm going to write it over here, 89/400. There it is. And I've got x plus 3/20 all squared. So now I'm going to find the square root of this side, square root of that side, and go plus or minus. Now this is where I can do a little bit of magic. So I've got an x plus 3/20 is equal to, well, this is plus or minus, but we know the square root of 400 is 20. We don't know the square root of 89 easily, so I'm just going to write that as over 20. Now, this is a root 89. Now, here's the really useful bit here. Really, it's only plus or minus 89 that is the plus or minus bit. So we could actually rewrite that as, because I'm going to subtract a 3/20 from both sides, subtract 3/20 from both sides. So here we go. So x now is equal to, and I've got negative 3/20 plus or minus square root of 89/20. Now you can see I've got a common denominator here. So I could restate that as negative 3 plus or minus root 89 all over 20. And that would work just as well. So now, that's my x value, we could say that x is equal to, and we could write that as two fractions, or two decimals, sorry. Let's go ahead and do that now. So first of all, let's start with a plus. So I'm going to go negative 3 plus root 89, and then divide it by 20. So negative 3 plus root 89. And then I'm going to divide that by 20. There it is. I like doing it in separate movements, actually. Negative 0.32. Sorry, 0.32. I nearly said negative. I don't know why. And the other one, let's have a look what that would be. We've got a negative 3. This time we're going to go minus, we're going to go root 89. Let's see where we land with that. We've got negative 12. Now let's divide that by our 20, and we get negative 0.62. So negative 0.62. Now again, we want to write the smallest one first. So I'm just going to write x is an element of, and you really don't have to do it in set builder notation. I just like it. I think it's a nice way of doing it. And it also combines several different branches of mathematics and shows that they are basically commutable. You can move between them easily. All right, so there's our solution. Hopefully that makes sense. And any questions, do ask.